how long did it take to try and develop, or to actually develop each character? Does that take a lot of research and
Not a lot of
getting
research.
to know the actors a little bit better?
Not really. I mean, I think it was like, I think the script and the concept itself took probably 5 years on and off while I was working on other things to just sort of develop and write and kind of, when I had more time, I spent more time on it. And then as I got closer to making a pitch, I started casting it in my mind. And, really then we just sort of, the characters fit the actors, and that's usually what happens. You don't have to act that much. Like when you receive a script, it's kind of like, oh, okay, you don't have to know too much background. It's just it's there on the page. It's whatever is in Nina Gray's mind, or that's what adds the complexity to a character. Oftentimes it's not the writer. There is some complexity that I've added.
It's a total collaboration.
Yeah, it's a total collaboration.
When projects really sing and they really fly along, it's because everybody in their department is collaborating and bringing their best to the project, and that's one of to go back to how we began this conversation. Why do we do it? I don't know that I've ever experienced anything that is, and I'm going to sound super cheesy here, but I'm a cheeseball, so I'll take it. I don't know that I've ever experienced anything that is quite as magical as connecting and collaborating with other people who are as excited about telling a story as you are, and then creating that story together and then releasing it to the world. And the world is, if I may say, a shit show. It's a total shit show.
It's a bit of a trash fire.
And we need to give people a bit of relief from some of the stuff that's going on, so that they can recalibrate, take a breath, and then bring their best experiences to their daily lives as well.
Well, it's good that you say that, because sometimes I feel like what we do is kind of meaningless, and I think that's what I was trying to explore in this series, was what is the purpose behind it. But when I'm reminded of laughter is really important, like Jim Carrey says, it actually cures cancer. It does. Literally, just I guess I often downplay the importance of creating comedy, because it feels kind of like
it's not taken as seriously.
It's not taken as seriously.
But you know what else is important too? What else is really important is reciprocity. So we're only one piece of the exchange. The audience is the other piece of the exchange. So we provide a few laughs, and as I say, that relief that you can feel when you're watching something that brings you joy or just takes you out of your head. The world is filled with audiences, and I hope they find the stories that resonate with them, so that they can go out into the world and share their gifts and talents.
Ultimately, so many times we're disappointed in our work, whether we're in the film business or we're, like I said,
and we're hard on ourselves.
We're hard on
Very
ourselves.
hard.
Everybody, no one has an easy job.
Very critical of your own work.
Yeah. So when you find a place that's fun, you just want to, you realize, oh my God, I could have that again. I could have that every day. That's why we're so passionate about the project.
And the industry is punishing not only for actors, but especially for crew. Like our crews in town, we're a service industry, so, what I mean by that is Hollywood comes up and shoots their projects here, which we love, and those hours are really, really long. And to be a part of a project where we're all gelling together in front of the camera and behind is really meaningful. I really appreciate that.
Well, there isn't a lot of domestic production, right?
Yeah.
Like how many shows are actually created and produced by Canadians?
And it's great to have a mix of both. It's great to have a mix of
a lot of flashes. There's a lot of arrows.
But they're bringing their own talent.
And they do use our local talent, because our local talent here is an important part of the infrastructure, which brings them up here. Not only our crews, which are highly skilled, are incredibly talented actors. So and of course they bring names up as well. But yeah, it's really I love the mix of service work that comes up from LA and local production. And we just need to keep bolstering the local production, because it's been a little bit out of balance. And in order for us to stay sharp and really at the top of our game, we need to be working in substantial ways. And this project was a way to work in that manner.
I think in terms of a comedy too, there is no other comedy that's being shot. There's no TV series comedy created by Canadians that we're shooting in Vancouver. There's a couple in Toronto.
Yeah,
So-
good ones in Toronto.
Great
too.
ones in
Yeah.
Toronto, but I think it would be great to establish something here in a bigger way that actually creates a job for
Yeah.
locals that is a comedy.
Yep.
It would be great to represent Canadian comedy on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So I think there's a perception that Americans can do it better, even if they're not like high-profile Americans. I honestly think that perception exists until producers come up and actually go, oh no, like there's some producers and directors who are American who know they can get their lead guests here, but there's a perception that Canadians, for some reason, aren't as good.
And the fact is, you can go anywhere in the world.
That perception is totally wrong.
Totally
It's
wrong.
wrong, but you can go anywhere in the world and find exquisite actors. They don't all exist in just one country or city, or even though there are many in LA, for example, or New York. There are so many wonderful actors across America, across Canada, in the UK, all over the place. And I think I'd like to see a greater representation of those actors reflecting the human condition back to their audiences as well. And certainly Vancouver's no exception. We have a lot of talented people here too, and
totally agree.
it's a joy to be able to work with them.
And it was fun for me not to act on the one day, just to basically show up in my normal civilian clothes and just be behind the camera, because one of the days I wasn't on camera. And it was it was quite nice just to focus on one thing, because when you're directing, so I've never directed something I've acted in, and thankfully I'd had lots of time to prep, lots of time to organize with my DP, who is amazing. His name is Devin Carrington, and so we spent like 2 full days in the hospital going through all the shots before we even moved, before we started shooting. We had 2 days to prep, to go over everything. And so on the day, we both knew how each scene was going to be shot, but I also had a handheld monitor. But it was still, it's double-brained. Like, when you're sitting back and you're watching something unfold, you've got one perspective. When you're in it, you can't actually see the net result unless you're watching playback every single time. And if I knew that if we watched playback every single time, we wouldn't make the days. So there was a part of me that I needed to gather what the experience was by being in the middle of it and go, that felt right.
Yeah.
Like at least the performances were all good.
So you must be quite visual then. You see a lot of the scenes in your head as they're playing out. How many, what size of a crew would you use for each episode?
So the whole series was shot over 7 days. The first 2 days we shot at the Bridge Studios, and then the next 5 days we shot at Riverview. We had three days off between those 2 shoots, which was luxurious, and we used the same crew. And our crew was about 40 people, I want to say.
That's quite large. Especially when it takes place usually in a small room in the operating room.
The trailer was the most interesting.
Okay.
We had
That was
most of the crew
we
was
were
outside,
packed in like sardines in there.
but we still had like 6 crew in the trailer with 6 casts. And I decided I'm going to bring my dog. I put my dog in. Georgia Lupe's in it. So I'm like, this is a great dimension that I've added.
And
Why did I do this?
all the work that I prepared in that scene out the window because the dog was there, and I'm like, and then I turned
Stealing
into
all the
that
scenes.
girl. So I just, my focus became the dog instead of, maybe being a professional actor. And
It was
using my hand.
crazy what we had to shoot on that day because we lost one of our cameras. And so we literally lost 2 hours a day. Oh my God.
And I'm not going to say who, but a certain actor may or may not drop his shorts.
That's true. In one of the episodes.
Could be salacious. Could be salacious.
Yeah. No, so basically a good sized crew, but not a massive, not a sprawling crew.
Where do you find time to rehearse? Do you do it way in advance?
We did a little bit of rehearsal. We met a couple times in advance, and that was
that was
really
important.
useful. Yeah, because we had a room in a community center, and we got together and got some of it off the page a little bit, and on its feet. And actually, that was really
It was invaluable.
really helpful.
We wouldn't have been able to get the days without it.
No.
So many times, of course, that doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't.
You never have rehearsal for any show you do. You basically show up. You're lucky if you got a read through.
Yeah.
And so normally when you do any of these shows that are shot here, you just show up on the day and you figure it out.
And sometimes you don't even get to be a part of blocking. If you are, they've already decided where they want you to move. So there's very little opportunity to find your character organically in the scene because it's technical. They need to hear, and they got to get their day.
So you would have, I guess, every member of the crew that you would normally have on every TV set or TV crew, including, I guess, a script supervisor or consultant.
Yep, script
so
supervisor.
Then would the script supervisor then be telling you have to speed it up a little bit, speed up the dialogue, or?
No, that's the nice thing about being the boss.
Yeah.
Is that essentially I'm being the producer and director and the writer.
There's a shorthand. Too,
shorthand in my brain.
Yeah. But it
part
started
of me is saying, gotta go fast.
Yeah.
Part of me is saying, I gotta get another shot.
But there's also this thing when you start gelling as a team, where Adam can literally come up and go, and you're like, yeah, okay, I'll get good, and then you go.
Yeah.
So you have a background in improv back in high school, but did you carry that forward in your acting career?
Oh, absolutely. Everything I do has. I think that's part of the reason why I'm hired. I know that you feel that way too.
Yeah.
I hope that when I get hired, it feels like a big part of it is because I can be loose and I can add something to the life of the script.
And when I'm hired, I add so much that I will add another 45 minutes to any given episode I'm in. And that is also a reason why I'm not hired again.
Yeah. People realize that.
I won't be asked back.
Yeah. No, and that was part of the joy of doing our work was, Enid Ray and I are both improvisers. And,
Liz Bowen is one of
Bowen's
the funniest people in this country. She's a huge, she plays our wardrobe, head of wardrobe department on the show, and she has decades of improvising experience.
So sprinkling in the cast with improvisers really helps to kind of allow for some ideas to popcorn and new ideas to be born literally on set.
And what's really great is that the moments are, as you said earlier, we're playing this like a drama. And so the moments are so based in truth.
Yeah.
That they're not this big, huge, crazy, wacky thing that we've thrown out there, but just these little one-offs can often be the funniest thing in the scene, which are so. You're not asking for the laugh; you're just playing the moment, and those are my favorite.
That's the key.
Those are my favorite moments.
Where do you see the series going after the first season? Do you plan on having a second season as a webisode, or are you going to be approaching networks to see if you can get a half-hour episode?
Well, that's the ultimate goal. We created this as a calling card for something hopefully on a larger scale. Mm-hmm. Would we do another digital series? Maybe. We really like the experience. I know it's very hard to get a major television show off the ground. That it may take several years. It may take a couple seasons of a web series. I think I'd have to find a different way to do it because it was a lot of weight on my shoulders. But I wouldn't rule it out. I think
the goal is to get it on.
The goal is to get it on. To do it. The goal is this could be our job.
Yeah.
Not just our passion project.
Is there a lot of anticipation from everybody, from all the actors, the cast, about what the feedback will entail?
Well, we're pretty excited. We're hearing good things from people. They're excited to be able to see it. And we had a screening a few weeks ago in Vancouver where we showed all of the episodes. And we had
where did you show that?
Just over at the Dunbar Theatre, which has some seriously good popcorn, if I can say. And it was incredibly well received. So there's an excitement about what this could become based on what it is now.
Yeah. As soon as I saw it, I've seen some episodes that are they're trying to do comedy, but sometimes it falls flat. This one, right from the get-go, right till the very end, it was extremely impressed.
That's great. A big testament to that is Adam also edited this. And it's just, there's a story, you write a story, you shoot, and a story you edit. And he was part of that, wore all three hats. But really, it's tight because of him.
I often say if someone gave me the choice to direct or edit something and I had a competent director, I'd be like, I think I'll edit it. because
To maintain that creative control.
well, the editing, you can either make something,
Yeah.
you can create a certain pace, or you can kill it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think the editing took me a long time to edit this.
Did you have to research, videos on how people perform in an operating room?
I think I looked up pronunciation of things, and I do not look to TV too much because, except for the show within a show, that's always useful. But I just, there weren't for me that many.
No training required.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying. Laziest actor of all time. There weren't that many scenes where it was just one. Adam just like, just dab.
I did wish
instead of my
we had
training.
some trouble.
Yeah.
You had some trouble, and maybe we could have had an additional rehearsal for the paddles.
Oh, the paddles
paddles
were
was a-
so hard.
The paddles
That
were
is
hard.
hard.
Did you do it correctly?
It was just a hard.
I ended up doing it correctly, but it took me a few takes.
Well, it wasn't just. It's the coordination of the patient needs
Yeah.
to do the buckle up at
Okay.
the same time
Yeah,
as she's. And there
because
was like,
there's a charge of electricity.
you're jumping before I'm pressing.
Yeah,
There was a little bit of that.
There's a dance going on.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Timing is everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.